Good morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to ARL-TV for this round one of the ARL-TV's V8 SuperCar Championship Series. I'm Alex Simpson, calling the action live today from Road America. I'll be joined hopefully later on by Madison Down and Josh Muggleton, but for the moment it's just my dulcet tones on the own. I'm sure the guys will be along very shortly. Round one of this series, a little bit different, just if you're new to it, haven't seen the rules or whatnot. So we match the official series as far as the tracks go, but a little bit of a twist. Obviously fuel's capped to 90% at some tracks, and race distances can be a little bit different as well, just to force some pit stop strategies in there. So should be interesting to see how the boys play it out today. Road America, always interesting track as well, and should make for some good action. We're about halfway through qualifying at the moment, so we'll give them a little time to settle themselves down, and before we have a look at where everybody's standing at the moment. But interesting turnout as well, lots of new teams in there, lots of new faces this season. So I think we've got some 35 drivers signed up to the league, so we'll see how many of them stick it out for the whole 11-round series. But if anything goes from last season, it should be a really interesting battle throughout the championship. I'd also like to thank Apex Racing League for hosting all of these races, and as well as Simnew Daily for sponsoring the series. Hopefully we'll have an additional sponsor added in a little bit later on, and should make the championship a little bit more interesting with some extra prizes coming up for grabs. Sorry about that, I just got lost as Madison's just joined up. Let me just drag him up.
User was moved to your channel.
Hi Madison.
Hello.
Hi mate, sorry, we are actually live at the minute, so welcome to the channel. Straight into the mix, thrown in the deep end or what?
Yeah, tell me about it. Good to be here. Just jumped in, watched a bit of this qualifying session, and yeah, it should be good. Pretty close already. Yeah,
just obviously no time to introduce each other, so I don't think I've actually raced you on track before, but I know of your ability in the car and whatnot, so it's nice to have you here and give some authenticity to the commentary box. Let us know what's going on, what the drivers might be thinking about. Road America, just tell us the what we need to look out for today, what are the tricky points for the drivers, and what we're then going to expect from this race.
Yeah, Road America is one of those tracks where you need it, particularly in the V8, you need the car to stop well and get off the corners well. There's so many long straights with big braking zones. So these guys, whoever's got the car that's most stable I suppose under brakes is going to be strong here. Obviously that'll be where the pathing's done as well. However, like the carousel, you need a car that flows well and has good mid-corner speed as well. But yeah, I've found driving this track so far, it's been quite grippy. So I don't think tyre wear is really going to play into these guys' strategies too much. But as we know, if you overdrive the car, anything can happen.
Yeah, have we had any changes with the new build that might catch anybody out, or is the car just the same as it was?
I think it's pretty much the same, from what I felt. So yeah, the pace should be around about what we had in the past. But yeah, you can always improve on setup, and these guys will always be looking to improve. That's for sure.
I just bumped you up a fraction, mate. We should be around about the same now with a bit of luck, so...
Yeah, no worries. Obviously, tricky technical stuff there in the commentary box, but...
Yeah, it's start of the season, got to get everything right, so everybody's mic level is always a little bit different, so... Yeah, get them all balanced out and whatnot. So I heard Josh might be joining us today as well, or do we...
I'm not sure. I haven't seen him around today, but yeah, if I can catch him on Facebook or something like that, I'll see if he can jump on as well. So
we're looking at well, there's quite a lot of cars here signed up for this race. I mean, big grids. What's turn one like? I mean, last season, I don't know if you saw the replay from last season. We had a bit of a shocker here as the start, but Road America turn one always seems a little bit of a disaster place. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those corners where you can get too wide in there, but it requires a fair bit of cooperation from both the drivers, and you know, it's pretty easy to get it wrong too wide there. So there's concrete walls both sides, and you get the good old pinball effect happening down there. But I think turn 3 coming down into that large braking zone at the bottom of the hill, that's going to be a key one on lap 1 as well. It's very easy to outbrake yourself there on the full tank of fuel for the first time, because you've got to remember these guys basically go straight from qualifying with light tanks, high tyre pressures, 1 lap fires, full tanks of fuel with lower pressures and all of that stuff. So it's hard to just switch your mind into race mode.
So with the 90% fuel restriction, I mean, I guess we're going to see people play this race out a little bit different as to opposed to the official series, where they might be trying to save fuel and go the whole race on the 1 tank. So they're forced to make a stop here. I mean, we're going to see some sort of different strategies, people driving the car a little bit different. I mean, I know a lot of it's about saving tyres and things, but is that going to be thrown out the window with everybody forced to stop?
I think the strategy that is safest and most likely to win the race is to get to the critical lap number, whatever that is. I'm sure the drivers have got that sussed out. I haven't seen what the fuel's like with the 90%, but I'd say that'd probably be about lap 7 or so, lap 7, lap 8, and if you can get to that number and then pit, you've got the track position there, because when you leave the pits, you got the new tyre advantage. But saying that, we might see guys run it out a lot longer, so they might run out to say lap 13 or 14, so they've got the fresh tyres at the end. And you know, I'm sure all these guys will attack it differently, but yeah, it depends. I mean, it's up to the driver to make both those strategies work. They're both perfectly capable of winning the race.
Just having a look at some of the quali times at the moment, quite a split in the field, so we should have some interesting battles going right through the grid today, which is always good to see.
Yeah, the times are pretty close, from 2nd to 5th. You know, we've got a lot of drivers there in the 11s, and that's pretty respectable lap times around this joint, so should be a good race up the front.
Yeah, we've got some returning faces from what was our season 1 as well. So Richard Staminkovic, Justin's back as well. So it's nice to see those lads get back in the action. All the REM lads with their new skins as they've got. So I'm hoping that we've got them all up to date for this race. But team championship as well. So teams of 2. So that's going to play into the mix as well. So I know there's a lot of lads that are all part and parcel of the same team, but they're going to be split into the 2, so we're going to have some inter-team rivalries, which is always fun to see. So
yeah, that's it. Speaking of the new liveries, I'm still trying to get my head around the REM guys' livery change. I'm so used to seeing all their cars painted up in that purple and black type paint scheme, so to see a few of the cars now blue and green, it's a bit weird.
So we just see Little More lose it there coming out of the carousel. Easy to do around there. You're desperate to try and get on the gas. I know Little More not particularly experienced in the car, one of the old ARL members. He likes his open wheels normally, so it's going to be quite a culture shock in this, I should think.
Yeah, completely different. Way more horsepower, skinnier tyres, probably twice the weight. It's just a whole different ball game. And yeah, as you said, that's a 3rd or 4th gear exit out of the carousel, and very, very easy to pick the throttle up too soon and rotate it, which he unfortunately did. But actually, that he won't get another lap in either, so that's unfortunate for him. But watching the times, it doesn't look like anyone's really challenged Chris Luckey so far. He's still on provisional pole with 20 seconds remaining in the session.
Yeah, Chris, obviously our season 1 champion. He's not got his rival was in Carwin May this season. Carwin couldn't make this championship, unfortunately. I think he's having a little blast at the Lotus 49 when it comes out. So those two had some tremendous battles. So, but I know Justin give Chris a run for his money. So perhaps just needs to warm up a little bit, and we'll see what the race pace pans out like. Tom Jones there just took his first win at the end of last season as well, Brands Hatch, so maybe he might find some pace in the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing with this car to get the 1 lap speed out of it, but you know, sometimes, I know Carwin May, as you mentioned, was quick here last season, and he's generally stronger in races. His 1 lap pace isn't too bad, but he always moves forward in the race, and he's very good with the tyre conservation and the fuel strategy type part of it. And yeah, as you said earlier, you know, all these guys are going to play it differently, and the car's interesting to race, so you can kind of work your way forward from, say, 10th, 11th on the grid to actually win these races. It's a great category.
Well, it looks like everybody's just on their final laps now, so I'll take a quick look at the grid. I wonder if you can give us a rundown of the order. And actually, my grid overlay is not working, so we love the technical faults here at ARL-TV. So I think we're, yeah, I just think the way the new session pans out, we might need to bug test some of these things. Oh, we love the updates.
Yeah, good fun. And just looking at the qualifying order now, Trevor Johnson's actually pipped Chris Luckey at the line there by 0.06 of a second. So well done to Trevor. That's a great lap, right at the end of the session too.
No better time to do it. No time for Chris to react to that. And I think that is a few drivers losing it there. Oh, Lenovo car. I think that might have been a little more again. Struggling out there, we can see.
Should be a, just looking at the order now, should be an interesting race. We got Justin Di Giandomenico. I'll just try and pronounce that properly. I know he's told me how. But yeah, he's down the order in 8th, and I know he's generally got a lot of pace. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching him to move forward. He'd be my pick for, say, a hard charger award or something along those lines. So yeah, definitely going to watch Justin with interest.
Yeah, Justin, obviously, like we were saying earlier, we give Chris a run for his money. Probably the best race we've seen with different strategies. I remember him and Chris, they split strategies. Chris went for a no stopper, Justin a 1 stopper. They crossed the line about 0.02 of a second apart. So a fantastic race. So it's always good to see like different strategies panning out like that. So let's hope we see some of that action again this season. Going to be a pretty monstrous grid. We hope for the best going into this turn 1. You never do know.
And the cars are so hard to get off the line as well. That's another big aspect of the V8. You know, you got so much horsepower there to you know, to get down to the ground, and you know, there's a concrete wall on the right hand side of the track and doesn't really allow you much room to move here. So if someone goes nowhere, particularly up the front of the field, you could, you know, could potentially have even a start line crash, and touch wood that doesn't happen. I'd like to see everyone get through the first lap cleanly, but yeah, certainly a tough car to get away.
As everybody takes to the grid. The new championship, round 1. New drivers, new teams, new liveries.
Just about to comment, a few guys haven't quite made their way to the grid yet. You know, they could be maybe saving that extra little bit of fuel. You know, every drop counts in this car, and even if you can just squeeze that extra lap out of it before you have to pit, that makes all the difference.
Is that on pole position now? What's Trevor going to be thinking?
It's got to be one of the most nervous times in racing, sitting there on pole position, particularly if you're not always up there. I know Trevor's normally pretty quick, so he's probably had a bit of experience up there, but he'll be nervous.
30 cars behind him as well, so anything can happen as the lights come on. Revs build. We're about to go green here for round 1. The
Green, green, green!
SuperCar series. Chris gets a little sideways off the line but gets away well. Trevor, fantastic start.
That was a bad start for Stamankovic there. Lost a lot of positions. Looks like, oh, there's contact back in the field. They all got through turn one relatively cleanly though. Still looks fairly clean. We talked up the fact there might be a few incidents, but they've kept their noses clean here.
Yeah, all good so far. Everyone giving themselves some space. CST lads up there looking strong. Lucky having a look up the inside.
Back end of the top 10.
This is the next danger corner we looked about. Look at all those cars streaming through. Fantastic shot there.
Great to see these guys using their heads. You know, 18 laps around Road America is actually a pretty long distance. The track distance is about 6 kilometres, so these guys playing it smart at the start of the race and keeping it clean, which is great to see. Trevor's actually skipped away to a bit of a lead at the front. He got a great start and he's opening that gap up on lap 1.
I think it's important that you try and, you know, if you get a good start, just try and break away, get out of the mire, so you feel that little bit of comfort. I mean, I don't know about you, but I always feel when I've got somebody sort of within that half a second barrier, there's always that tiny little bit of pressure that just slows you up a little bit more. It's important, get a good first lap under your belt, try and build up that 3/4 of a second gap or a second gap, so you get that little bit of comfort. You know, you're not under pressure from the slipstream effect, and you know, you just got to push on, settle into your rhythm.
Oh, Chris Luckey's in the fence at the last corner. Marlon made a dive and he's just mistimed it and just clipped his bumper and unloaded him. That's a shocking start for Chris Luckey. That'll be huge damage on that.
Just quickly look at that back on replay, see if we can catch that. Yeah, it looks like somebody got at the inside of him going into sort of down that back straight. He's just slipping further back and back.
Yeah, Burnett got up the inside of him down the back straight, and then Justin followed him through, and yeah, Marlon's just clipped him and sent him off into the fence, and yeah, he's going to have massive damage from that. He's struggling out there to keep the thing on the track. That's a shocking bit of luck for him. P2 on the grid, and there you go. Shows you what a bad first lap can do to your race. That's terrible luck.
Just got that little bit of twitch off the start, and that's what just set the rest of it in motion.
Kind of just sitting back in awe that these guys mostly have kept it pretty clean, and there's pretty even gaps between the entire field. But I just noticed that Black and Johnson at the front are both in the 2:16 range, with Black a little bit quicker on that last lap, so he'll be looking to close in here on Johnson for the lead, and keep Johnson honest. If you can get within that second range that you were talking about earlier, especially at a track like Road America, you can really, you know, get the draft and draft up to them and put the pressure on for a pass.
You saving much fuel in the draft with this car, or?
Not particularly. I mean, you can lift off 50, 100 meters earlier, like you can in any car, I suppose, and get that gain from the slipstream and get the fuel save gain. But I think at a track like this, being so much, you know, of it being flat, you're going to need to pit anyway, and I don't think in a race like this you'd really worry about saving fuel. I think you just drive flat out, and I suppose the only thing you have to worry about conserving is tyre. I'll be interested to see if Marlon's got any damage, Marlon McMullen. I don't think he does, but I think he mainly hit him with the front bumper. But yeah, Chris Luckey still feel sorry for him. That's very unfortunate. He's in the pits this time by.
Just on board here very briefly there as he blinked out with Simon. So he definitely seems to be losing a little bit of ground to Trevor here. Just see him working the steering wheel. Definitely doesn't look like he's pushing the car too hard.
Yeah, Trevor was 0.6 faster on the last lap, so he's got his driving together there and started to ease that gap back out, and that's important. That'll be good for his confidence to see that much of a gain.
The CST lads I normally associate them with the open wheel DWC Pro Series, but it's nice to see them branching out. And we've seen them in the Proto I Series as well as I think they were doing some of the World Tour events as well. So it's nice to see them in here as well.
Yeah, certainly is, and Simon Black and Marty Atkins, position 2 and position 3 at the moment, as Marty has a bit of a slide on cue there. He'll be under pressure here from Stamenkovic into the last sector. But I was just going to comment on these guys. You can see on the rear wing they've got Oceanic Sim Racing, and that organisation that these guys run, they also do a driving school in this car. And you can sign up to that on the forum. I thought I'd give those guys a plug because, you know, this car's not an easy one to get your head round, and these guys do a great job, you know, with tutorials and stuff like that for the series. As Stamenkovic's got a run on Atkins for 3rd. Very deep into 1, he's battling to stop. Atkins is going to undercut him here. Doesn't quite get the drive though.
Yeah,
Good move.
Yeah, good bridge, held that well.
That was
Stamenkovic was
he started to apply the pressure there, and Atkins started to get a little bit wrecked in the last sector of that lap, and Stamenkovic definitely pounced on that opportunity.
See a stream of REM cars behind, so just
that's good for the REM too, because you know, that exchange brings Atkins closer to that pack of cars, and with Justin up to P5 from where on the grid? From P8 on the grid, he's definitely moving his way forward and has got good pace in this car, so he'll be looking to catch Atkins here.
Just having a quick look further back at some of the action, we've got Dean Prescott pushing Kevin Johnston here. So a Lenovo driver, Matty Burnett 6th, 7th. We've got Marlon McCullum.
Yeah, these REM guys have all got pace, but they won't be too keen on battling each other at the moment. They'll, you know, most teams don't have team orders, and I'm sure with this many cars entered in the field, they won't be moving out of the way for each other. But I'd say in the first half of this race, before the pit stops, they'll kind of just hold station unless one of them makes a mistake, and then after the pit stops, it'll be on for young and old until the end.
Tom Jones way back in 18th. Quite thought he'd be up there a little bit further on. Don't know if he had something go on at the start, so but it looks like he's trying to work his way up the field.
Definitely looks like he's got better pace at the moment than the cars ahead of him. Getting backed up a little bit here. He goes down the inside. Good move there. Just needs to get the power down on exit now.
It's one of the REM boys ducks to the pit lane. Not sure who that is.
Christopher Brooks up to pit entry. And David Oliver from REM as well was also in the lane. So these guys must have figured out that lap 5 is the earliest you can pit and get home. These guys will be looking for track position. So we're going to have a look at these guys' outlap quality to see what kind of speed it is in comparison to the leaders at the moment. Trevor Johnson's doing a great job out the front. He's just done a 2:12.3 and pulled out about 1.2 seconds over second place Simon Black. He's driving the car brilliantly out front.
Yeah, I was just about to say 3.5 seconds the gap now. Stamenkovic 4.9 behind the leader. So Marty Atkins dropping back from Stamenkovic as well. So and actually Justin seems to be catching up and bringing Matty Burnett and Marlon along with him as well, so could have an interesting battle for that final podium spot.
Yeah, it looks like Simon Black might be starting to struggle on tyres, just a little bit.
Tom Jones trying to put another move on as well. Tommy Cumper, driver from season 1 and 2. Thought he'd be a little bit further up there as well, so but it's definitely one to watch out for as the season progresses. Very consistent driver. I don't think he ever shows up in the official series, but definitely has great talent, so he seems to have a natural ability to jump into any car and be quick within sort of 5 or 6 laps, so get him some practice underneath his belt and we'll see him at the sharp end, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly will, but Stefanovic just passed Simon Black for second. Simon Black made a slight error through the fast right-hander around the back of the circuit, and Stefanovic pounced on it, and it looks as if Black's struggling on tyres. He's now got his CST teammate Marty Atkins all over him, and as you said before, Justin D. Jen Domenico back in 5th place there, looking strong as well, running consistently fast lap times.
Yeah, it's quite early for these guys to be sort of experiencing tyre problems. I mean, we've got a longer stint coming up, so you know, I don't know if they went out really hot from the blocks. And I mean, is it a case of if you overheat these tyres, they turn a bit mushy, and you know, like we sometimes experience with this tyre model, or you know, can you get them back? Is it you know, can you just take it easy?
It's, well, for Simon Black now, it's going to be hard to get them back. I mean, sure, you can back off and just avoid the wheel spin to try and get the temperatures back down and get some rear tyre life back, but he won't want to lose track position, because track position is absolutely everything. It can take 2 or 3 laps, if not more, to get around your rivals. So Simon's going to still be wanting to push on, and that'll be just continue degrading his tyres, and it looks as if he might have got them back a little bit in the past lap, but he'll really struggle, whereas, you know, say by yourself, it's a lot easier to back off just a little bit and get the temperatures back down. But, you know, with 600 horsepower, you can see him there through carousel just having a little bit of a slide. With 600 to 650 horsepower, it's so hard to get the power down, and even though it is just lap 6, it is a long circuit, and these guys have been underway for nearly 15 minutes now.
Yeah, Justin's not going to let up as well. He's putting the pressure on coming down this back straight. Not having a look, just biding his time. Like I say, we've seen him make a few moves. He certainly doesn't seem to be struggling out, giving it some large out of that corner there as well, a little bit sideways, so trying to put the pressure on as much as possible.
He left some nice licorice straps off there. He won't want to be doing that too much, as we mentioned with tyre life, but saying that, these guys will be getting ready for pit stops soon, so they could start laying everything on the table now and really go for some moves.
So we had the couple REM lads that pitted in. I wonder if we can just take a quick look, see what sort of lap times they were doing, see if that early pit stop has paid out for them, or whether or not they've come out in traffic. And trying to remember who it was now. Was it Chris Brooks?
Yeah, Chris Brooks and David Oliver both pitted. Their out lap was a 2:41, but that's obviously not indicative of their lap time. They're about to finish their first one now, but just looking on at Oliver, and he just encountered a little bit of traffic on this lap, so that's not what he's after. He's after some clear running here on new tyres.
Yeah, Chris certainly not held up with any traffic or anything like that, so he's got clean air in front of him, so that's probably everything he wanted. Let's have a quick look, see what this lap time is as he comes around.
Only a 2:14 flat for Dave Oliver.
2:14.9 for Chris.
I think both those guys will be wanting to do 2:12s, 2:13s if they can on the new tyre to make up time. Because, you know, looking up at the leading pack, those guys are still doing those times around the 2:13, 2:14 range. So to get any advantage, they need to be going, you know, as fast, if not faster. Trevor Johnson at the moment's driving a very calculated race out in front. He's got no worries behind him. He's got plenty of clear track, and he's driving the car very straight.
Yeah, good solid drive. As we try and get a shot of him, waiting for the system to catch up with the button presses.
Yeah, he's I'm just looking at his lap times now.
He's Stamenkovic into the pits.
Very consistent laps. That's interesting. He'll be looking for the undercut. Johnson stays out, so Stamenkovic, you know, generally very quick driver, very consistent. It'll be interesting to see how quick he goes on his out laps here. He'll be looking for the undercut for the lead. If I was Trevor, I'd probably pit within the next 1 or 2 laps just to cover him off.
Just jump on board with Trevor just to see how he's yeah, you can see he's so smooth with the steering just going through there as well, so he's not fighting the car at all. It's like you say, fantastic drive so far. Just car's underneath him, it's controlled, it's not lighting those tyres up. Yeah, a tiny little sideways moment there.
Yeah, but when you watch him, he's generally driving it very straight, and any sideways moment he does have is only very minimal. He's not excited to read the tyres, and that'll be helping him a lot. His lap times are very impressive as well. He did a 2:12.9 last time around, and that is just miles quicker than the rest of the field. So he's definitely driving a very clean race.
Yeah, lap 8 of 18 as well, so we're almost reaching that halfway point.
I think we'll see an influx of drivers pitting within the next 1 or 2 laps. It's about the half race distance. The safe strategy is to split the race in 2. I wouldn't be surprised almost the entire field pits at pretty much the halfway mark. Trevor stays out.
Atkins still got Justin pitting behind him, and Marty's in as well.
Atkins is pitting as well. Justin's in. The whole field's pitting just about. Matthew Burnett also in. Also Brad Belletti. So on cue, a bunch of drivers are in the lane.
Chris Stone looking like he's shaping up for a move down the back straight here. Take away P17. Gets through.
Nice move there.
It's moving one of the Kimmy's rural fencing drivers. Not sure who that is. I think that might be Mr. Noble himself. No, it's Brenton O'Brien, sorry.
Mankovic coming down the main straight. He jumps all the driver pits. Simon Black exits.
A little further back, Roma Alcala. He's now got Simon right behind him. Obviously, Roma hasn't pitted yet. Give a little shout out for Roma, actually. He's the reason we've got a second session up on the server at the moment. Mr. Class D. Gonna have to wind him up about that. Get that C license, my friend.
Yeah, get racing in some of the official series stuff and get the license up there.
Could be important though. He's in front of the 2 CST drivers here, so he's holding them up. They all obviously got fresher tyres than Stamenkovic, so they'll want to get past him and be able to use those.
Yeah, this will be costing Simon Black and Marty Atkins a lot, although it looks like Simon's just got through there. But that little hiccup then for those 2 drivers, that's hurt them in comparison to Stamenkovic. And when Trevor Johnson pits from the lead, that'll also hurt them. Ryan Littlemore actually in the fence at the end of the straight there. He's just nosed it into the barrier. Trevor Johnson's in the lane. It's all happening at the moment.
Chris Luckey way down in 24th place. Certainly not where he thought he was going to start this championship campaign off.
Sounds like he might be fuel saving as well. He's...
Well, he probably... I guess he pitted, did he, to get repair? Obviously, we've got one fast tow with this championship, so he could have got in. And,
I assume what he's done is he's jumped in, got the car fixed, and that would have been at the end of lap 1, so... or lap 2 maybe, so he's planning to try and get home on 1 tank of fuel, and he's doing a lot of fuel saving. You can hear how early he's lifting off on the straights. Interesting strategy. If it pays off, he'll jump a heap of positions.
Yeah, Mark Noble into the pits as well. Yeah, I mean the pit stops around here are, well, they're about 40 seconds long if I'm not mistaken. It's one hell of a long pit straight.
Yeah, and you know, assuming these guys are all taking a full tank of fuel, or you know, fuel required to get to the end, and 4 tyres, it's about 15 to 16 seconds stationary in your pit as well. So it's yeah, it takes about 40 to 45 seconds to actually transit the lane, and that's a long time.
Yeah, I remember. Actually, I did speak to Chris just before the start of the race, and he said it was possible to make it, but the time loss that you gained, well, by having to sort of coast that much, sort of negated the fact. So, but it's a completely different race for him now. Obviously, he's in and around people who are slower than him, so he can't put his normal pace in. So it just makes sense just to save the fuel, wait for people to pick up the places, and see if he can, you know, somehow find like perhaps a top 10 or top 15 and get some points with it. Those points are obviously going to help come the end of the season.
Yeah, this is a salvage race for him. You know, we talk about championships often with drivers having bad rounds, and Chris Luckey clearly has the pace to be challenging for this championship, and it's not the start he would have wanted, and he'll be just looking to salvage any points he can today. Just looking back up the front, Mankovic looks like he's a little bit closer to Trevor Johnson than before the pit stops, and I would expect that considering Mankovic did pit 2 or 3 laps earlier than Trevor Johnson, our race leader. But he won't have gained as much ground as he would have liked, I don't think. So it'll be interesting to see how Trevor goes on these next few laps. His outlap out of the pits then actually was only a 2:45, and others around him have been doing 2:41s, 2:42s, so that outlap wasn't quite as strong.
Yeah, Stominkovic certainly broken away from the CST lads now since they got held up by Roma, so putting a little charge on.
Yeah, maybe. Although we saw in the first stint of this race that those CST cars were using a lot more rear tyre than the REM car and the Lazy Man racing car leading the race. Whether that's setup related or driving style related, I'm not sure, but they might have trimmed up the bars a little bit and found a better balance. But I think those guys might actually come under pressure from the REM cars behind if they're not careful. However, you know, don't know. They might have learned from the first stint and found a way to make the tyres last a little bit longer.
Not sure what I've missed, but certainly Justin lost quite a few spots during that pit stop as well. Obviously he was putting the pressure on Marty as well, so way back in 10th place at the moment, so I don't know whether he overfilled or what there, but certainly not a good pit stop phase for him.
Looking back at his pit stops, I think he actually overshot his pit box. So he lost at least about 10 seconds there.
Yeah, we missed that on camera, but yeah, that's probably what did it. It's quite a way back. Like I say, he's got to get through some of his teammates again now, so we know they're not going to fight each other too hard, but I think that top 5 finish probably gone out the window with that mistake. Matt Burnett sitting in 8th. I think Matty Burnett finished 2nd in the championship last season, so and that was mainly down to just pure consistent finishes, you know, getting himself in the top 10, top 5 most races. It certainly looks like that's how he's going to run again. Chris Luckey, 16th place. Looking like he's going to make a move on Dean Prescott here. He's a Team Lenovo driver. Oh, Dean squealing, under braking.
Just hit the fence. I think he'll get away with that for damage, but that was a massive moment for Dean Prescott.
No need to brake that late. It's your teammate. You don't need to be fighting that hard. So
I was just looking up the front before at Trevor Johnson actually, and he ran a 2:12 flat last lap. Although, looking back, Marty Atkins also ran a 2:12 flat, so there's some very quick times being done up the front of the field at the moment.
Tom Jones up to, well, actually I think he just lost a place there, P5, so I'm not sure if Tom's pitted yet actually, so interesting strategy that he's trying to play out there.
Yeah, it looks like he's not saving fuel, so he's going for the, I suppose, reverse strategy and to the rest of the field, and hoping that the new tyre gain at the end of the race will benefit him.
Got an REM car just doing a bit of grass trekking there. I'm not sure who that was, probably Matty Burnett, I think. It was indeed.
Interesting strategy by Marlon McMullen and Thomas Kumper, 1st and 2nd at the moment. Those guys have stayed out so far, and Marlon is running very
sorry,
high 13s.
Sideways through the kink to REM. I think it was Justin. Caught it perfectly as well. 3, 4 cars all in shot. I don't want to be fighting too hard. Well saved though, fantastic driving, just what we want to see from this championship.
You're looking to pull away from his teammate David Oliver now as well. Certainly running some quick lap times in the 2:12 range, but it's a long way to Marty Atkins in 7th place ahead of him though, so I'm not sure he'll cat it just on pace. That's 13 seconds is a lot to make up in 5 laps.
Yeah, those lads, CST lads, will have to have some serious burning up of tyres like we saw earlier on, but probably to another level for him to gain that sort of space. Thomas Kumper, yeah, just taking it easy. What was his last lap? 2:14.0. So fairly tidy pace. Certainly going to need to stop at that sort of pace though. I think you'd need to be running a little bit slower if you're going to try and no stop it. I might be mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, and unless they're very good at fuel conservation, but I think that's too quick of a pace to get home on just the single tank. But Marlon McMullen also running 2:14 flats in the lead of the race at the moment. Both of those guys haven't pitted. Just looking at where Marlon might drop back in, if you assume the pit stop was about 40 seconds, he would drop back just behind Marty Atkins into what would be about 7th position, but ahead of the REM trio.
Just as we see Tommy getting a little bit sideways, so those tyres starting to give out on him now, so might see him pop into the pits. 5 laps to go. No, he continues. Looks like he's going to try and make it. I hope some of these drivers realise that the fuel is restricted to 90%, because they'll come to a nasty surprise at the end of the race if they don't.
Yeah.
Got someone just leaving the pits there.
Yeah, Ryan Littlemore just exiting the lane after getting some repairs. Trevor Johnson is still driving at an amazing pace. He's done a 12 flat, a 12.4 and a 12.3 after his pit stops. That is absolutely flying. Great consistency as well.
Yeah, all out on his own as well now.
Yeah, once the field normalises after Mullen and Thomas pit from first and second, I think Trevor should have the lead. I don't want to put the micro on him at all, but he should have the lead of the race, and he certainly deserves it as well. He's driven brilliantly. I haven't seen him make a single mistake so far.
Yeah, Tom Jones obviously in 5th place. He hasn't pitted as well, so, and I know Tom, obviously he's one of the league moderators, so he will know that for sure it's 90% fuel. So
yeah,
he definitely looks like he's going for the long haul, and perhaps the pace as well that he's been doing, because he was a bit further back at the start of the race as well. He didn't look like he was making too many aggressive moves. I mean, he was slowly eking his way up through the pack. So I don't know if he had something and he thought, right, change his strategy up, take it easy. Seems to be paying out for him. We'll see if he has to dive in for a splash and dash at the end, or if he goes for the long haul.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, 4 laps from the end of the race, and some of these guys have stayed out a lot longer than I suspected they would. I still think it'd be too hard to make it home on fuel unless you were doing, say, maybe 2:17s or so, and no one's running that kind of lap time. Owen McMullen pits from the lead of the race.
Tiny little splash of fuel is all he's going to need.
The question is here as well, does he take tyres or does he just take 2 tyres maybe? Because he's not going to need much fuel, and by taking 2 tyres he'll gain a heap of track position. There's only 4 laps to go, or 3 laps to go now.
But you thinking he'll just change up the rears, splash of fuel?
I think if you were going to run this long on a tyre set this old, I think you'd probably only want to take rears, but it looks like the front of the car's gone up. But saying that, actually no, he's just taken 2 tyres, or no tyres. That's a short stop. That's a good move from Mullen.
Gonna come out right behind the CST lads.
He's gained a bunch of track position though. I think Thomas may have done the same. Yeah, I think Thomas has taken either 2 tyres or no tyres as well, and he's also gained a bunch of track position. Good strategy move from those 2 guys. It's vaulted them up the field massively.
Yeah, they might have been a bit further back at the start, but they sort of stayed out of the mix where everybody was battling and holding each other up, and they were just able to run steady at that start of the race, conserve the tyres, and it looks like they were able to sort of keep that consistent pace once everybody started pitting as well. So that's what's given them the track position with the short stop added into it for good measure.
Chris Luckey's made his way up to position 15 of the race and is putting quite a large amount of pressure on Brett Spicer ahead of him. Had a few little looks into the past few corners, and Chris is starting to run some pretty decent lap times, but saying that he's still lifting off early, so he's still in trouble with fuel.
Yeah, that lap 1 incident certainly set his race back. He's done well just to recover anything from it. I mean, it could have easily been end of race. It was a shame actually, because obviously he could have jumped in the pits had he realised he got that much damage straight away. Obviously he just wanted to give it like a lap or so to see if he, you know, if he'd dive straight in the fast toe.
Yeah, however, I think if he did pit on the end of lap 1, it would have made the 0 stop strategy he's going for pretty much useless. To do 17 laps on a tank of fuel at any kind of decent speed with that 90% fuel load restriction, I think it'd be a pretty tough ask. So
Tommy Kumper just putting a move around the outside of Oliver there. That's the difference between a fresh set of boots to an older pair. You're able to make those moves. Up to 9th place.
Good move. I'd be worried if I was Matthew Burnett and Chris Stone right now.
This looks like he's trying to break the toe as well. He doesn't want him coming straight back at him. I think he's got him covered. He's got a little run, but he's covering the inside line well.
Oh, that was deep into turn 1. He still made the apex just. The rears were snatching on him though. Oh, David Oliver, big moment.
Certainly not giving up that place, wants that back. He's going to get a run down this straight. We've got a little bit of action further up. I think that's just the back marker getting out of the way. Is indeed a little more out there. He struggled all day. We did say obviously an open wheel guy, and he's found this beast hard to tame. Moves out the way, lets this battle go through. Nice driving.
Yeah, good work there. Let the front runners there battle on. Good sportsmanship shown by Little More there. Good outlap from Marlon McMullen actually. That's the quickest outlap I've seen. 2:40. That's pretty on it. Although saying that though, he did have a shorter stop, so that may be why. Because he would have crossed the line as he was stationary in his pit box. So, yep. Sorry, excuse that comment. That'll be why.
David Oliver certainly not giving up on this ninth position as well, putting Tommy under a lot of pressure. I thought perhaps with the fresher rubber Tommy would be able to break away, but Oliver absolutely nailing it. We saw him getting sideways there. 2 laps to go. He's thinking, sod the tyres, let's just give it what we've got.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of people also find it to be easier hunting instead of being hunted. So, Davo here is definitely dry. Oh, he's using a lot of tyre though, struggling to get the power down.
Lucky move on Spicer as well, down the back straight, side by side. Duck back into the slipstream, don't think he's quite got enough run. Spicer defending well. All down to the brakes. Oh, squirming side by side, and the camera flips away just in typical fashion.
Bit contact on the exit. I think that's broken Chris Luckey's car. That's done toe angle damage to his left rear, I think. Oh, that's Chris Luckey's run out of luck today. That is just terrible.
Just watch that back, yeah, just got a little bit loose and he had the move done.
That's the second incident today that hasn't been his fault, and that one looks like it ended his charge. Wow. When you have a bad day in racing, you really do have a shocker, and that's just terrible luck for Chris Luckey. I feel really sorry for him. Second on the grid, and he's had that kind of race. That's shocking.
17 of 18, we're almost there. Tommy Kumper. David Oliver looking like that battle might have done what it's going to do. Tommy's starting to pull away. Whether or not he's got enough to catch the guys in front, we'll see.
He just needs to get his head down here and just make sure he hits every apex and every mark. His last lap wasn't as good as I would have expected, but was under pressure.
Trevor Johnson still driving fantastically. Stamenkovic actually made a little bit of ground. Great drive from him.
Yeah,
Black and Atkins, nothing to separate those two.
Yeah, I was about to say, Atkins has actually closed the gap to his teammate there and starting to apply the pressure. I'm sure there won't be any big dive bomb moves on the last lap there between teammates, but certainly no team orders, I'd imagine, either. They both want to be beating each other, that's for sure. Oh, Chris Stone's lost it onto the main straight. Just keeps it out of the fence. Wow. 1 lap to go and he's made an error.
Have a quick look at that back. Yeah, just on that curb, it's so easy to do there. Lots of cars, open wheel, tin tops alike, just get affected there. You just catch it wrong. Too much lock on while you're trying to power out of that.
Yeah, I know in the official series last season we saw a champion, Richard Hampstead, actually plough the car into the fence on the exit there. It's very, very easy to do off that painted ripple strip.
Still Atkins putting Black under pressure here.
Final lap of the race, he just needs to get close enough off the carousel and get a good run through the fast kink in the back straight to maybe have a crack at his teammate. I'm not sure he's quite close enough at the moment, but if he can get the drive off here,
Looks like Black got a good run out of there. Although Atkins seems to be closing. Through the kink they go.
Not quite going to be close enough, and you got a lapped car here, an extra element to contend with.
That's going to come into play the last corner. Little more though. No, it's not a little more. I lie.
Paul Maguire there. Trevor Johnson coming to the line. Great drive from him. Trevor Johnson wins round 1 in dominating fashion. Never even looked like losing that race. Fantastic drive.
Yeah, fantastic. Like you say, led from start to finish, got off the line beautifully. Richard Stamenkovic, you know, that's a fantastic drive as well. He had to work for that, made a few moves, got up, drove nice and steady, put the times in when he needed to. Black and Atkins finish where they were. Justin gets himself back up to 5th place. He'll be delighted with that after that pit stop mistake. I was saying earlier on I thought that was his 5th gone, but he drove fantastically there, so it would have been great to have seen what he could have done behind those two lads. Matty Burnett, 6th place.
Out of fuel. Sorry there, Alex. He's actually out of fuel. He's not going to get to the line on the final lap of the race. Although he's got Christopher Brooks, his teammate's going to help him to the line. Wow, that's teamwork at its finest there.
How many places are they going to lose?
Why Marlon McMullen maybe had such a quick stop. He's not put enough fuel in the car there to get home. So unfortunate mistake there from Marlon. I thought he drove a pretty good race, all things considered.
This is like you say, this is teamwork to its best. Chris Brooks is losing places as well. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh well, there's only downhill from there, I'm afraid. He's lost all those places and it's not happened as well.
Oh no. Ryan Littlemore looks like he might be out of fuel as well on the last lap. So fuel, obviously a big factor in this race. A lot of guys have tried to get away with taking the least they can in the stops.
Little bit of a bow here, 20th, 21st, teammates. It's a run down to the line. They'll enjoy that actually, both drivers obviously picking up a place.
Yeah. Well, that was a great race. We saw plenty of battles there around the field, and mostly it was pretty clean. I mean, we had the odd accident here and there, but yeah, that was definitely exciting to watch.
Yeah, just running through, well actually if you can just run us through the results please, Madison.
Yep, Trevor Johnson there picked the win up in dominating fashion, 8 seconds ahead of Stamenkovic in 2nd. Then we had Simon Black and Marty Atkins 3rd and 4th from the CST Racing group, and then Justin D. Oh god, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that last name, sorry Justin. Matthew Burnett in 6th, Thomas Compass 7th, David Oliver 8th, Chris Stone 9th, Brad Belletti 10th, Stephen McPherson 11th, 12th Brett Spicer, 13th Dean Prescott, 14th Brendan Kirk, 15th Wayne Burke, Christopher Brooks P16, 17th was Tom R. Jones, 18th Roma Alcala, 19th Brenton O'Brien, Damien McConchie was the final driver on the lead lap in position 20. Then we had Marlon McMullen and Paul Maguire, 1 lap down, 21st and 22nd. Chris Luckey, the hard luck story of the race, 23rd, 2 laps down, involved in a few accidents. Kevin Johnston, 24th, Mark Noble, 25th, Ryan Littlemore, 26th, and Dane Powell, 27th, rounding out the field.
Yeah, fantastic turnout for round 1 here at Road America. Hope to see similar sort of turnout for the next race. A great start, nice and clean, fair racing all day as well. So some different strategies played out. So, you know, let's hope for more of that for round 2, which I believe is Watkins Glen. Yeah, Watkins Glen, 35 laps.
Yeah, certainly one of the more popular tracks on the calendar. Very, very high speed circuit, very hard to pass on, but yeah, certainly always close racing there. Qualifying's normally separated by a hair in in the top placings. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
I'm right in saying the V8s run the Cup circuit, do they? Or do they run the full version?
Yeah, yeah.
The
No,
Cup
it's the
circuit.
Cup circuit with the bus stop lane, so it's a very short lap, and it's not an overly hard one to get right, but it's very hard to be quick. So yeah, the times are normally pretty close, being such a short track, and provides great racing.
I'll just give a quick shout out just to Apex Racing League for putting this on, Sim News Daily for sponsoring it as well. Don't forget to follow us at Apex Racing UK and Apex Racing League as well for Twitter and Facebook. Hopefully we'll have some interactive tweets and things like that go off for the next round as well, so we'll jump on and keep track of that. First round always a little bit of a nightmare with the technical glitches, as we have had, so but I think we got through it well. Interesting race, great start to the championship. We look forward to round 2 at Watkins Glen. Thank you very much, Madison, for joining me in the commentary booth, and I look forward to next week where we'll go at it again.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here. Great race to watch. Great start to the series. Looking forward to round 2.
Yep, congratulations to the top 3, Trevor, for a fantastic win, and we'll see you all next week.
Sound muted.
Go out, we will be racing here in Monte Carlo. Look, but never stare. And we're away. And it looks like a good start by Pilkey and Bachelor Dad looking for a way through. The Ferrari of Ant Warrior in second place. He's lagging all over the track there.